welcome to the 17th annual Hatsume Spring Festival here at the Morikami. We're continuing with our activities here at the main stage, which, as you can see, is being sponsored by Blood's Hammock Groves and the Sun Sentinel. And we appreciate their support. We also have, I want to take a minute to thank some of our volunteers here today. It takes a lot of people to put on an event like this, numbering in the hundreds, and his martial art is karate. And we're very pleased today to have the Uechi-Ryū Karate Association here. It's headed by Rick Patrikas, who is the head instructor. He's a 6th degree in the sport, trained and tested on Okinawa, and certified by the Uechi-Ryū Karate Association of Okinawa and the All Okinawa Karate Do Association. Interestingly enough, he began his training while a student at Florida State University as a member of their judo team. So I'm going to introduce, I hope you'll have a warm welcome for Rick Patrikas and the Uechi-Ryū Karate Association.
I'd like to thank you all for being here. Can everybody hear real well back there so I don't have to holler? I'd really like to thank all of you for being here and supporting this wonderful event that they have. And while we're doing what we're going to do is we're going to open up formally, and then while they're setting up for the first part of the demonstration, I'm going to give you a little bit of background while they're getting set up. Right. 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 Okay, while they're getting set up for the first part of the demonstration, I want to give you a little bit of background. Uechi-Ryū Karate is an old Okinawan style. It was named after a man by the name of, the family name was Uechi. His given name was Kanbun, who was born in 1877. He went to China to further his skills in 1897 and was the first non-Chinese native to actually have a school on the mainland. He moved back to Okinawa and he began teaching. Without getting into a long history, we want to get going with the demo. However, the style was named after him upon his death in 1948. So Uechi-Ryū literally in Japanese means Uechi's way, just the way he taught. The original name of the style was the Poengai-Nun-Ru Karate Jitsu Kenku-Jo, which is a real mouthful. So Uechi-Ryū is a lot simpler to say. And mostly they named it after him in honor of him upon his death, and his son headed up the style until 1991 upon his death. But the school, we are affiliated with the All Okinawa, the Zen Okinawa Karate Do Renmei Association, or Kyokai, also associated with the Uechi-Ryū Karate Do Kyokai in Okinawa, and the Okikukai, Okinawan Karate Do Kyokai. The school is certified. All of our rank is through Okinawa. I've tested for my senior ranks on Okinawa, one with Master Uechi while he was still alive, and lately with the senior members, Master Nakahodo in Okinawa. So we'd like to start. The first part of the demonstration is with the Sanshin kata. This is the building blocks of the entire Uechi-Ryū system. This is the kata that O-sensei Kanbun Uechi brought back from Okinawa, back from China, excuse me. And it blends proper breathing, stance, and physical strength. And the students are tested during the course of the kata, and you'll be experiencing that, you'll be witnessing that. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Great.
Hello. At the beginning, when you start out in Uechi-Ryū Karate Do, the tests are pretty simple. The checking is not that hard, but as you rank up, it gets harder and harder and stronger as your body builds more strength. Sanshin teaches your body how to armor itself, where you're very hard on the outside and soft on the inside as you breathe naturally. Of course, this comes over years of training. This doesn't happen overnight. Sensei will check various parts of the body so that they're impervious to blows. Kicks to the legs. And as he goes down the ranks, you'll see that the checking will be a little lighter as he goes. Sanchin is one of the original katas brought back from China. As you can see, there's various levels of degrees up here and ages. Start training at age 6, and we've had them as old as 60. And that's completion of the first kata. Thank you.
Okay, as an additional demonstration of the stability and the stance, we're going to do our first of our breaking techniques we're going to do today, otherwise called Tomeshiwara. We're going to do 2 of the breaks. We do a little bit different breaking than you've probably seen on TV or in the movies. We don't do stagnant breaks. We do active break, and you'll see what we're talking about here. Carry stomach and come on, let's go, guys. Harry and Robert shoot the rock ball. Come on, let's go. The first break is going to be attempted by Kim Collins, one of our brown belts, soon I hope to be testing for Shodan. If we don't break her leg, it'll kind of set her training back, but I think she'll be okay. Not too much because they won't see. Right about there. Me. Go! It's okay. Knee. Okay. The next part of the demonstration is the kata kanshiwa. This is the first kata taught to the Q ranks, or the color belt system. We're going to have one of our instructors, Sensei Dean Vagozen, is going to demonstrate the kata first, and then we'll have two of the students demonstrate the bunkai, or the breaking down of the kata into its practical application. Okay, thank you. Okay. Hey. Kanshiwa kata. Hey. Bunkai demonstrators, show me, right? Hey, right? Okay. Now we're going to break the kata down, or as the bunkai, breaking down. Sensei Vagozen will demonstrate a series of moves, and then our student, Kim Collins, will demonstrate the application or practical application of the kata. If you notice, all of the movements are designed to move away from the force of the attack, not confrontational. The stepping movements of these traditional Okinawan styles is to move away to avoid direct confrontation and use the person's inertia or their own strength against them. The defense against an overhead or side overhead type striking, the block and the elbow, stepping down and under the force of the attack. Good. Great. We have a little bit of time. There's a couple of quick questions while they're getting ready for the next section. We could take maybe one or two if anybody has a quick question. Yes? No, the question was, does it hurt when they get hit with the wood? No, this is strictly voluntary, and the students do a certain amount of training. There's very specific training. At this point, it doesn't hurt. We don't want to chance any injuries. Everything that you see today, there will be a minimum amount of chance involved. The students work very hard to work their way up to condition their bodies to be able to do this. We don't take somebody that's brand new in and say, stand here and let me hit you with some wood. No, there's a long process involved, and we're very careful with the students. As you'll see that we don't have the younger students do any of the breaking either. Not until they're at least usually around 17, 18, or their bodies are more mature. Okay. Yes. Yes, say something. The next demonstration will be the Seisan kata accompanied by the Seisan bunkai. This is a kata and a bunkai form that's used as part of the dan testing requirements for the black belt or the shodan. The black belts you see are part of the Uechi-Ryū Karate Yudan Shikai. Seisan kata. Spit. Seisan kata and the advanced katas in the Uechi-Ryū system demonstrate the karate jitsu form of the system rather than a sport-oriented form. Uechi-Ryū has kept its roots as what's called a jitsu rather than some other purely sport forms. This is a close-in combat system that has remained relatively unchanged since the 1800s, when it was originally taught as Pangainun in China. The Okinawans that went to China to studied with the Chinese, the Kung Fu masters, and blended in the knowledge that they learned in China with the indigenous systems of Okinawa that were called Tode. And sometimes you hear the Okinawans will refer to a karate practitioner as Tebushi. Right? Okay. Now we perform the Bonkai application. It's not very stable here. Sit. Hey. Harry, Ivan, Dean, Jim, Kote Kitai. Okay, quickly, we're going to run through the conditioning drills. The question was earlier, does this hurt? See, now, because you asked that, we have to show you why it doesn't. Okay, no, really. This is the conditioning drills. We're going to go through them quickly. They're called Kote Kitai and Ashi Kitai. They're training drills for the conditioning that allow the students to do the breaking techniques. So that was a good question. Let's get it. Ready. The students practice slower but hard blocking to the inside areas of the wrist and the upper on tops of the forearm to sharpen the areas that there's not much muscle covering, such as the inside and outside of the wrist. Switch. You'll see that they're striking with the inside of their wrist to the inside of the opponent's wrist. What this helps is condition the blocking surfaces. It allows for more strenuous and harder training without having to use protective gear to build the body's own natural shell, so to speak, or like an ectoskeleton. It actually conditions and thickens the skin. Yame? 2 sweep blocks. 2 sweep blocks. Okay. Hey. Then the next one they're doing is just a simple sweep block. It's a 2-handed block that in this form is just done as a repetitive back and forth motion. But what we'll have is a short demonstration before we do our breaks of the actual application of these blocks. Okay, Yame. Okay, Moshigeri. It's a conditioning exercise for the outside of the forearm using the Moshigeri or roundhouse kick. Okay, Yame. Ashikutai. Migi ashimai. Now they're going to work on the conditioning the thighs. This is done very slowly at first. The students build up to a very hard level of training without injury. It shouldn't hurt. There should be no injury type pain involved other than discomfort, and it's done gradually like cooking a good meal. You keep it warm and you cook it slowly. Yame. Great. Okay. What we'll do is I'll ask Sensei Bugozen to help me out for a second. Everybody go ahead and move back. The drills themselves are not merely just drills, but they are used and flow later into a self-defense application. Once the student gains the confidence of the conditioning, they become less afraid of the confrontation. Then it allows the student mentally the ability to move inside, to actually enter into the circle of the opponent without fear of small injuries. Okay. Arms. We're going to do several breaks right now to show the advanced conditioning. First time. Each. Feet. I didn't do it. Don't blame me. I didn't buy that one. Okay. Yakuso. Harry. Okay, the next part of the demonstration is what is called a yakusoku, or a prearranged type of sparring. It's not free sparring like tournament sparring, but it's a prearranged form that teaches the student distance, timing, and evasion. And it's done in a series of sets. We're going to have two of our Q ranks where students do the first 5, and then myself and one of the other students will do the 6 through 10. 1 through 5 is required for the Q rank. 6 through 10 is another part of the Dan level or black belt testing. Right? It's good? Right.
All right, what you're going to see now again is these 6 through 10 steps, and these are a little more advanced, and if you watch them closely, they do have some very real-life applications.
We're going to do it slow and then fast.
All right, they're going to do it slow and then fast at full speed. We like to describe our style as like up close and personal, right? And it's not long range fighting, it's right in close.
Mommy. What? Okay. Hold on.
And while they're doing this, they're carrying the original Sanchin Kata that we performed earlier. That is carried through in all the moves. So once you learn your Sanchin, the rest of it, I wouldn't say it becomes easy, but it makes it work. Thank you.
Yakusoku is done back and forth. It's done in a pattern. That one, right? The Okikukai Yakusoku. And the next one is called Dan Kumite. It's also a Yakusoku, but it's done in a free-flowing manner. Right? You'll notice a lot of avoidance, most of the attacks are moving off the power line. It's a free flow. It begins from where it's left off. It stays close. Okay, what we're going to do now, before we finish up with our breaking, we're just going to see if there's any more questions while everybody's kind of catching their breath. Yes, right there.
How long does it take to get to black belt? How long does it take to get to the black belt?
Ah, the ever important question. How long does it take to get a black belt? In our style, the minimum amount of training is 3 years. Any less than that, generally the student's not going to grasp the systems and the system and the techniques correctly to avoid injuries.
How come in the sparring techniques and in the katas?
Pardon?
How come in the sparring techniques and in the katas, most of the techniques are open-handed instead of the fist?
Good question. That's a good eye too. A good question. The young man asked why the techniques that we're doing are mostly with the open hand rather than the fist. As I stated earlier, Uechi-Ryū is a karate jitsu. It's not a sport form. So the fist, the closest thing to a fist that we use is called a shokin. So one knuckle. The seiken is not very existent. It's not used. That's considered actually basic. The shokin, the weapons in the Uechi-Ryū system, are the shokin, or the one knuckle. Then you have hiraken, which is this type of a fist, or phoenix fist. The boshikin is the palm heel. A lot of these terms also aren't Japanese. They're Hogan, they're Okinawan. Boshikin. Okay, you have sokusen as the kick, which makes Uechi-Ryū a lot different than most styles because we use what's called sokusen. In Japanese, they would say sumasaki. It's the toe. Tip of the big toe. Using the toe as a weapon because of the penetrative aspect of it. A lot more penetration than, say, this. Okay? But the empty hand is because this is primarily an old fighting self-defense type system rather than a sport. But it's good observation on your part. Okay? We've got, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, they do, believe it or not. Yes, they do. That's exciting for them. Okay. What we're going to do is, yes, I'm sorry. Hang on. Everybody asked this question just before we. Good question, though. Thank you. He forced us into another hand of no. Actually, that's coming up. What we're going to do is we're going to pull out of the kata some of the techniques that he's asking about. Some of the techniques such as the throwing or semi-grappling. We do not grapple, say like in judo or some styles. But we do have takedowns and throws or controlling techniques to get the other person on the ground. I don't want to be on the ground. My wife hates it when I get this dirty. So what I'm going to do is I want to throw somebody else on the ground. Okay? Jim and Jimmy. Turn that over to Harry.
You're going to get there.
I'll do that.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to sort of yell as you saw them do in Kanshiro Bunkai. There's a technique that is the shito, not shuto like most Americans pronounce, but the U is relatively silent. Shito. Shito uchi. Very slow. And in the kata, the students learn it, the beginning students learn this. Ich, ni, sun. Okay, that's a break the clavicle, or hit to the side of the neck and then the back fist to the jaw. At a more advanced level, make sure you look. Do it. Just go. It turns into something more like this. other applications. In the kata seirui, there's a move from a standpoint that's done something like this. In the kata, doesn't mean much to somebody that doesn't know what's going on, but what that can be translated into. Good slow. Okay. Each knee. Again, these katas here, here in the kata. Okay. Again, you saw in the katas the students being very formal here in this position with the elbows up, the hands in a very tight position, back fist. Looks simple, but what's hidden in there is something entirely different than just an elbow strike and a back fist. Just grab. So from here, choke. Easy. Kata. Here. Okay. I don't want to hit him in the face. It really is upsetting for him. What else? The circularity of the step, tensho movements. In a lot of the katas that you see, the way the students move, is here. The Uechi-Ryū kata are very circular in motion. A lot of the kata jitsus are that way because they haven't been changed to the format of a 20 by 20 ring and a point type sparring. We have that, but the essence of our training is more directed towards the older karate jitsu form. We're going to do a couple of breaks here. In the end, I hope they come off and you'll enjoy it. It's a little different. I think you'll find out.
Mommy, where's he going?
Huh? Last thing. Yeah.
I don't think we'll go now. Sensei Patrika's just demonstrated a roundhouse kick after blocking a punch. Now you'll see the application of that kick on this baseball bat.
Got it? And the shin and the lower part of the leg because of the penetrative quality, rather than the foot. The foot flexes. This area from here to here is very strong. It's very narrow. If it's conditioned properly, it's a tremendous weapon here.
Don't any of you try that at home? Sensei Patricus has been conditioning his legs for many years.
If that technique was used, say, lower, I'm not going to hit, say here, you can imagine what it would do to the knee. So for a self-defense situation where it requires distance, it's very, very effective in conditioning there. Not only does it break, have the possibility of breaking the knee, but unhinging the man even if he does move, it's going to take him off. Try the other one.
Break it again, what?
Huh?
We're going to do it again.
Well, no, we'll do that with the last words. Just come in, no. Punch. Right punch.
That's the demonstration of the technique. Now we'll see how it works against a bat.
That's okay. What we're trying to do, of course, we just ruined $40 worth. A lot of the kids in Little League go, that's Andres Galarraga. What is he doing? He just ruined that bat. There's a regular Louisville Sluggers. You're welcome to come up and look at them. One's the Wade Boggs and one's Andres Big Cat Galarraga. It is kind of a shame, but we wanted to entertain you all. We just got 2 more things before we go, and then we'll hang on as long as we can, as long as they let us for some questions. Just explain what we're doing. I'm going to do lock and motion, and then he's going to do a grab, change off.
Okay. The young man earlier was asking about the open hand techniques, and here you'll see an application of a couple of those techniques. The first is called Boshikin, which is a palm heel strike. And here it is with the wood. Oh, you're going to do...
This was a grab.
Okay, the second is a defense against a grab and a strike. It's called Shikoken. And now you'll see a combination of the 2 movements with using the wood. People tend to think that open hand techniques are not as strong as a fist. They are.
They're done, the techniques are done with speed. They're meant to be disorienting. It's not necessarily what you'd call a knockout type technique. What you want to is unbalance the opponent. These type of techniques can be used a lot softer rather than punching someone maybe and breaking their cheekbone. You can use these techniques against the chest, the up in here, staying away from the neck, or maybe the side of the head like a slap, which is less dangerous, but the felt pain sometimes is greater, but there's a less chance of injury. So what we're looking for is the ability to defend without necessarily destroying. And that, of course, we're trying to be peaceful. The whole reason for training in the martial arts is to learn control over yourself. When you have true confidence and control over yourself, it's a lot easier to walk away. Most fights are escalated because somebody became afraid, and then they became angry because they were made afraid. And they force themselves into retaliating or acting out. And that's what we teach the kids, that it doesn't prove anything to react that way. Okay, they say we do have a little bit of time to field some more questions. Pardon? Question? I'm sorry. Where at? Right, okay. There's not a real set time for that. You have to be recommended for it. Okay. Somebody was back. I'm sorry. Yes, sir?
Me? No, I don't like that. I don't have anything like that. That's for my friend.
No, in an actual situation with where you see the advertisements for no holds barred, but in a real confrontation where pretty much anything goes, you're looking at about 15 or 20 seconds. It'd be unusual. Now, if you have two highly trained combatants, sure, it can drag out. But if you mean against somebody that's uninitiated, it's very quick. But there still are rules, even in the unlimited fighting challenge or whatever. There still are rules that open hand techniques are not allowed. Some of the techniques that are actually taught in karate are still not allowed in those things. Yeah.
Hard blocks punctuated by a quick strike, but we haven't seen a lot of follow-up. Do you follow through with the rest of the moves, or is it like a quick strike?
The blocks are actually not that hard. The circular blocks are soft. For a demonstration, to keep pummeling the person. I mean, if you're talking about follow-up, generally, the idea is to be accurate enough to get that over with right away. You need to get on with it. If it's going to take a lot longer than that, you got a real problem in your hands. Right. The idea is to be very precise and very quick, right off the bat, quickly. And it may require follow-ups. There are in different parts of the katas more techniques involved. Say several strikes. How about okay, real quick. Do the Tetsui Boshikin and one knuckle like together. How to say something? Yeah. Okay. What you do is the Tetsui strike, Boshikin strike, and the one knuckle, but that's it. What you might want to do is this. It's a right punch. Tetsui. Punch. Boshikin. One knuckle. But for a demonstration, we usually find for a demonstration, if you have people that train, they ask pretty good questions. I mean, we've had great questions today. But what it happens is you lose a lot of people. You're doing a lot of things that after the first move don't mean anything. So we tend not to drag that. What we want to do is entertain the people and show them as much as we can at that point. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, sir.
If I was foolish enough to become involved in a fight, I wouldn't get involved in a fight. I mean, if you're talking about defending my family in my own home or my own life or the life of say yourself or something, no. I mean, there are levels of confrontation. If I feel that my life is threatened under the law, we all have the right to use whatever force is necessary. But I've only had 2 confrontations in 25 years that I actually, that I was able to get away from. Wasn't able to get away from, but I didn't escalate past very much. The biggest thing is awareness and avoiding it. Thank God I have never been robbed or attacked along those lines. That's one of those things that, you can kind of trust in fate. Not in a situation like that. It's no different than anyone defending themselves. If your life is threatened, or the life of, or someone else's, then all the bets are off at that point. Right. Now, if I was to defend myself and then continue to injure a person, beyond the point where I was threatened, then yeah, I would be just as guilty of excessive force as anyone. Yeah. Okay. Can skate? Great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's the Uechi-Ryū Karate Association with Rick Patrikas.